Welcome, if this is your first time watching Who Remembers, the series where we discuss and break down my thoughts on games that are at least 10 years old or older. Some we are revisiting, and some we are playing for the first time. I'll try to keep it mostly spoiler-free by avoiding any major plot points. So let's get started. So the last time I played a Tomb Raider game, Lara Croft looked more like a Minecraft character. Not to mention the controls were about as precise as a weatherman predicting a sunny day in Seattle between October and May. It's been a minute to say the least, and things have changed for the better. At least so far. As usual, let's dive into a brief little history of Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. Originally released back in 2013 for PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. It was developed by Crystal Dynamics and published by Square Enix. Here's a little fun fact for you. I actually worked for a local print lab a while back, and they actually printed and produced some really cool high quality posters for Crystal Dynamics. So that was pretty cool, getting to contribute to a special project for Crystal Dynamics. Tomb Raider 2013 was the first installment of the reboot trilogy. To this day, it still remains the most successful Tomb Raider title in the franchise, selling over 11 million copies. The development of the Definitive Edition improved the visuals and gameplay from the original. Now it runs at a native 1080p for both Xbox and PlayStation, plus the PlayStation 4 runs at a buttery 60 frames per second, and Xbox holds a steady 30 frames per second. Thanks to the Tress FX technology, Tomb Raider has never felt more realistic. You can really see the difference between Laura's hair in the original and the Definitive Edition. Long, flowy hair can actually be pretty challenging to model in 3D, and make it look realistic is a whole nother ballgame, especially with the movement involved. Not only did Lara receive an upgrade with the locks, thanks to an all-new physics engine, all of Lara's gear and gadgets have personality now. Each cliff jump and rock slide Lara experiences, her bag, belts, and straps move right along with her. It's a small little detail that I really appreciate and don't overlook. These are the attention to details that create immersion for the player. Now let's get into my favorite part of the game, and that's the gameplay. Like I said during the intro, I haven't played a Tomb Raider game since Friends was on TV. I was honestly shocked at how good the gameplay actually is. Now let's be clear. There is some obvious inspiration from the Uncharted series, but hey, the bottom line is it's really fun and responsive. The improved frame rate really pays off in a big way. As a result, the platforming is a delight. I had a blast jumping from cliff to cliff, trying my new axe to cling onto rocks and shooting my way through waves of enemies. Campfires are also provided around the island, allowing the player the opportunity to upgrade and customize weapons and gear. Nothing too innovative or crazy here, but there are a decent amount of RPG elements here to create a meaningful impact to Lara's abilities. Last thing I wanted to touch on with the gameplay is the discovery and exploring of all the hidden temples was one of my favorite aspects of the game. I love solving puzzles and finding little notes. These notes give up context clues and insight to what might have happened on this island. Tomb Raider Definitive Edition tells the origin story of Lara Croft, a young and adventurous archaeologist dead set on finding the lost kingdom of Yomatatai. I probably butchered that, but oh well. The expedition is led by Dr. James Whitman, a desperate celebrity archaeologist, and Connor Roth, a Royal Marine, now adventurer and mentor to Lara. Originally titled A Survivor is Born, Lara Croft really comes into her own throughout the story. And by the end, she has fully transformed into the Tomb Raider we all know and love. We'll quickly touch on the music before we finish up with my personal experience. The music was composed by Jason Graves, who previously worked on games like Dead Space, Fear 3, and Star Trek Legacy. You can really feel those inspirations from the horror experiences in Tomb Raider.
And there you are, Queen.
I was kind of surprised, but there are some sections that felt like a horror game. I mean, you literally have Lara crawling through dark caves with bones scattered all over the place, covered in blood. Graves chose sounds and themes that were considered indicative of the scavengers on these islands, who came from all over the world. My personal experience with the Tomb Raider series is thin to none. Like I stated a few times now, the only time I really played Tomb Raider was back in 1996 with the original. Let's also use the word play lightly because I never really had access to the full game. I had what was called a demo disc. I'll try not to go on too much of a tangent about demo disc, but basically these demo discs would come with magazines or sometimes even included with other games. And these demo discs were a saving grace from the reality of our small collection that you managed to build up over many Christmases and birthdays over the years. The only caveat with these demo discs is the fact that you can only play about one level of each game on the demo, which brings us to Tomb Raider. The extent to my playing time was mainly revolved around running around the mansion's obstacle course, and of course my favorite thing to do was lock the butler in the freezer. Anytime I decided to venture out into the actual game, all I managed to do is get lost and frustrated with the terrible controls. Not to mention a lot of the textures just blended together, making it extremely difficult to navigate and progress. Oh, and then I did come across an enemy or a wild animal. There was probably about a 99% chance they would take me out before I could even figure out which direction they were coming from. I will say I'm very interested in playing the remastered edition that they made for I think the first 3 games, because it does have that toggle where you can put on the new graphics, which are updated, and I believe they updated the controls too, so hopefully they cleaned up a lot of this stuff I'm talking about. As bad as all that sounds, it was still kind of groundbreaking at the time, and something I really enjoyed messing around with. Now that I've played the first game of the reboot trilogy, I'm excited to play Rise of the Tomb Raider. I've heard Rise is the best of the 3, but you know, we'll play it and I'll be the judge of that. The definitive edition exceeded my expectations with the gameplay and story. It offered a lot more depth than I was expecting, and the 12-hour length playthrough was perfect. Nothing really overstayed its welcome. The only thing I can really knock it for was the lack of enemy variety, and there wasn't really many wild animals outside of the wolves at the beginning of the game. It's one of the things I'm hoping for in the later installments, more animals. I was definitely expecting more based off the original game because I remember bears, snakes, tigers, and I think even a T-Rex from what I remember. Correct me if I'm wrong. All in all though, I had a great time playing Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. Felt like revisiting an old friend I haven't seen since elementary school. Familiar, but different in a good way. I'm stoked to continue my journey with the reboot trilogy, but in the meantime we have to shift our attention to some other fun projects and new releases on the horizon. I do appreciate you stopping by, and I hope you enjoyed our little walk down memory lane with Tomb Raider. Comment down below your favorite Tomb Raider game. I'd love to hear about it. We'll see you next time. Stay blessed, my friends.